Good morning. Today we are going to discuss attention, perceptions, and memory chapter in educational psychology. Disclaimer: the video content has been made available for informational and educational purpose only. In the kinds of memory, we are going to discuss about short and long-term memories. Short-term memory is also called primary or working memory, lasts for only 50 to 30 seconds. We remember a telephone number till we get the connection to that number. We have to look at the telephone directory. If we are to phone after a few hours, experimental evidence shows that only 7 plus or minus 2, that means 5 to 9 separate items can be held in the short-term memory at one time, referred to as a memory span. The primary memory is not the terminal point. Information is being transformed to long term memory for more permanent storage. The multiplication tables we have learned, the poem we have memorized, our date of birth, wedding day, and our telephone residential address, etc., are permanently remembered because of our long term memory. More time and efforts are essential for moving the information into long-term storage. While the capacity of STM is short-term memory is limited, and the capacity of the long-term memory is unlimited. The information passed to the long-term memory is placed in the organized, categorized way where it resides and almost permanently. There appear to be a different brain process for the short term and long term. The transfer from the short term to the long term takes place not only because of recursion and repetition, but because of coding, which is the process of analyzing the information and compressing it and into the abbreviated form. The operation and control process are affected by the brain in dealing with the input information passed on to by the receptor of our sensory organs with respect to the short term and long term memories seem to be different as illustrated by the following diagram. The memory model based on the information processing system. Just as most of the visitors to our house are allowed up to the reception hall and then sent back. The incoming information passed on to the brain by a sense receptors are filtered, and only those informations of significance requiring our immediate attention are fed to the short-term memory. Others are momentarily forgotten. Those informations entering into the short term are immediately put into the use, and after that forgotten or if considered useful and to be retained permanently. If it is processed further, so as to put into the organized categories, codified and stored permanently in the long-term memories. A certain amount of time, about 30 minutes, appears to be needed in transferring the information from the short term to the long term. For example, one who has received a jolt of brain often does not remember the event and just preceded the accident, but will remember those that happened 30 minutes earlier. When we remember anything, information is retrieved in the long term memory and put back into the short term memory for further processing, rehearsals, and repetitions. After which, the information may be again put back in the long term memory or it may result in a response or output. Therefore, it could be inferred that information, depending on their degree of utility, are stored either in the short term memory or the long term memory by the different brain process. That is why the telephone numbers of the other peoples are registered in our short-term memory, but telephone numbers of our residents and officers are stored in the long-term memory. Let's revise the short-term and long-term memory. Short-term memory, also called primary or working memories, lasts for just 15 to 30 seconds. We remember the telephone number till we get the connections for that number. Experimental evidence shows that 7 plus or minus 2 items only can be held in the short-term memory at one time. Referred to as the memory span. The multiplication tables we have learned, poems we have memorized, our date of birth, wedding day, our telephone number, essential addresses are permanently remembered because of our long-term memory. Actually, more time and efforts are essential for moving the information into the long-term memory, while the capacity of short-term memory is limited, but the long-term memory is unlimited. The information passed on to the long-term memory is placed in the organized, categorized way where it resides almost permanently. That is a different brain process for short term and long term. The transfer from the short term to the long term takes place not only because of rehearsal and repetition, but because of the coding, which is the process of analyzing the information and compressing it into the abbreviated form. The operation and control process affected by the brain in dealing with the input information passed on to the receptors of our sensory organs with respect to the short term and long term are different, as illustrated by the following diagrams. Long-term memory operations related to the long-term memory analysis, classification, compressing, encoding, forgetting, need permanently. Short-term memory, income informations, filtrations, patients, incoming informations. It's all sensory storage. Just as most of the visitors to our house are allowed to up to the reception hall and then sent back, then incoming information passed on to the brain by the sense receptors are filtered, and only those information of significance require our immediate attention are fed to the short-term memory. Others are momentarily forgotten. Those information entering into the short term are immediately put into the use. After that, forgotten or if considered useful and to be retained permanently. It is the process further so as to put into the organized categories codified and stored permanently. Almost 30 minutes is required to transfer the information to the short term from short term to the long term memories. When we remember anything, information is retrieved from the long term and put back to the short term memory for further processing. That means rehearsal and repetitions. After which the information may be again put back into the long term memory or it may result in a response or output. Therefore, it could be inferred that information, depending on the degree of utilities, are stored either in the short-term memory or long-term memory by the different brain process. Therefore, it could be inferred that the informations, depending on the degree of utility, are stored. Degree of utilities, that is the important one. Degree of based on the degree of utilities are stored either in the short term or in the long term by different brain process. This is why the telephone numbers of other persons are stored in the short term memory, but the telephone numbers of our residents and officers are stored in the long term memory. What are the factors that is affecting the memory apart from the neurological factors like the information of engram, reduction of synaptic resistance, etc. The physiological factors also plays a vital part in retentive capacity of the learned material. The conditions under which some material is learned affect retention. Such conditions include scope of learning material, learning time, number of repetitions, distribution of learning, age of memory, content, and unforeseen interruptions to learning task, referred to as Zeigarnik effect, which states that interrupted tasks are retained and recalled better than the completed task. The motivational factors like fatigue, attitude, concentration, interest, degree of anxiety, achievement motivation, etc., also influence the retentivity. So retentivity, the core of memory, continues to be puzzling and not fully understood yet. A signs of good memory. Psychologists point out the following five characteristics as hallmarks of good memory: rapidity, accuracy, length of time, promptness of retrieval, serviceableness. Rapidity. One is said to have good memory if he could recollect his past experience very quickly. Accuracy, if not, could bring back the learned material without any distortion. He is said to have a good memory. How long, length of time, how long one could retain the learned materials in the memory before retrieving them is also taken as a measure of good memory. Promptness of retrieval, if one is able to bring back the learned material instantly with ease, without requiring any help, he is said to have a good memory. Serviceableness, this refers to the recall of the right thing to the right place. If a candidate is not able to tell the correct answer at the time of interview, what will be the of use if he could recollect the correct answers after coming out of the interview? Techniques of promoting better memory. The capacity to retain cannot be improved by any intrinsic manner. All that can be done is to improve the method of memorizing. A good memory depends upon a good brain. We should try to keep the metabolism of the brain in a good condition. Our diet should contain calcium and phosphorus rich products. Some tips to improve memory through better memorizing techniques are given below. Have the desire or motivation to learn whatever is learned. Meaningful material is learned quickly and retain together, retain longer. Following the SQ3 or method while learning, the survey, questioning, recite, repeat, and review. Survey, questioning, recite, repeat, and review. SQ3R. Survey, questioning, recite, repeat, and review. Spacing the learning periods appropriately with the help in effective learning. Recitations during the course of learning helps the self-evaluation. This is very useful in memorizing, particularly in children's. Overlearning, learning beyond the point of forgetting, the aids retention. Rhymes and logical association between different parts of the material help remembering. And mnemonic devices, artificial associations like abbreviations are useful in learning when no inherent organization or associations could be seen in the material. For example, to remember colors in a rainbow in the order, we use the artificial word WebGR. Multisensory learning is more effectively remembered. TV advertisements are remembered better than those of the radio. The periodic test and sleep immediately after learning improve retention by helping consolidation of the memory traces. Subject which interfere with each other should not be learned in succession. The subject of the study should be show arranged to avoid interference like proactive, retroactive inhibitions. After learning mathematics, study a language like Tamil or English, followed by the study of science, then learning the social studies or any other light subjects. As suggested by Mandler and Herbert, teachers should plan the instructions such that the information is provided in organized manner. That is, grouping them in suitable clusters or categories. In this connection, Azubel also talks about advanced organizers learning through concept maps in an attempt under this principle of organization. Let's revise the factors affecting memory, signs of good memory, and techniques of promoting better memory. First, we start with the factors affecting the memory. Apart from the neurological factors like the formation of engram, reduction of synaptic resistance, etc., psychological factors also play a vital part in retaining capacity for the learned material. Such conditions include the scope of learning material, learning time, and the number of repetitions. Referred to as Zeinkopf effect, which state that the interrupted tasks are retained and recalled better than the completed task. What are the motivational factors? Fatigue, attitude, concentration, interest, degree of anxiety, achievement motivations, and also influence retentivity. The retentivity is the core of memory, continues to be puzzling and not fully understood yet. What are the signs of good memory? Rapidity, accuracy, length of time, promptness of retrieval, and survivableness. Rapidity, accuracy, length of time, promptness of retrieval, and serviceableness. Rapidity, one is said to have a good memory if could recollect his past experience very quickly. Accuracy, if one could bring back the learned material without any distortion, he is said to have good memory. Length of time, how long one could retain the learned materials in memory before retrieving them is also taken as a measure of good memory. The promptness of retrieval, if one is able to bring back the learned material instantly with the ease without requiring any help, he is said to have a good memory. Serviceableness, this refers to the recall of the right things at the right place. If a candidate is not able to tell the correct answer at the time of the interview, what will be the use if he could recollect the correct answers after coming out of the interview? So rapidity is having good memory. If he could recollect his past experience very quickly. Accuracy, bring back the things without any distortion. Length of time, how long could one could retain the learned materials in memory? This is the length of time. Promptness of retrieval. One is able to bring back the learned material instantly with ease without requiring any help. He is said to have a good memory. Serviceableness. They refer to the recall of the right thing at the right place. Like interview, he should recall immediately. After the interview, if he could recall, there is no use. What are the techniques for promoting the better memory? Have the desire, man, motivations to learn. Meaningful material is learned quickly and retained longer. You can say SQ3 or that means survey, questioning, recite, repeat, and review. Recite, repeat, and review. Spacing the learning periods appropriately. Recitation during the course of learning helps with self-evaluation. Overlearning aids retention. Rhymes and logical associations between different parts of the material help remembering. And mnemonic devices, artificial association like abbreviations. Like for example, WebGR, we are memorizing in the order of the colors of the rainbow. And multi-sensory learning is more effectively remembered like TV advertisements. Periodical rest and sleep immediately after the learning improve retention by helping the consolidation of memory space traces. Subject of the study should be so arranged to avoid interference like proactive and retroactive inhibitions. Like after learning mathematics, study language like Tamil or English, followed by the study of science, then learn social studies or any other light subjects. After learning mathematics, study Tamil or language, English language, or followed with the study of science, then learn the social studies, any other light subjects. As suggested by Mandler and Herbert, teachers should plan the instruction such that the information is provided in the organized manner. As Mandler and Herbert, teachers should plan the instruction such that the information is provided in the organized manner, that is, grouping them in suitable clusters or categories. In this connection, Asbel also talks about advanced organizers learning through concept maps is an attempt under this principle of organization. Conclusion. In this lesson, the meaning and definition of attention, two types of attention, that is voluntary attention and involuntary attention, nature of attention, determinants of attention, external factors, internal factors, ways and meanings of securing the better attention in the class, meaning of sensation and perception, determinants of the perception, law of perpetual organization, two types of errors in perceptions, hallucination and illusions, meaning of memory, kinds of memory, factors affecting the memory, science of good memory, and techniques of promoting better memory have been discussed in detail. Thank you.